Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 4th May 2025. But these reports are having a 2nd May end of the day reports. The weekend reports, because today is also a weekend, I will be generating few additional reports for weekly time frame. Apart from that, starting from this week or maybe starting from this month, I'm going to generate sideways trade setups for both long and short trade setups. Okay, first let us find the stocks near demand and supply zones. Before that, please note we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. And all the training lessons are available at our NeoStock YouTube channel. At our channel homepage, click on the tab Posts to access the training lessons. If you are seeing Community tab in place of Post, click on the Community tab. Then you get access to this post. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into supply demand zone price action course. Here you have all the training lessons are available. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here, starting from lesson 1.1, you need to start your training, and all the training lessons are placed in an order. But learn this course according to my training instructions. Then only your learning will be effective. I provided the training instructions at our Telegram channel. You can find the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. So once you join in the Telegram channel, at the top of the window, you can find pinned messages and excuse me. One of the pinned messages are having all the training instructions. Okay, now let's get into our report generation with the help of NeoStock Software Supply Demand Zone Top-Down Analysis Strategy Builder. And starting with the yearly time frame, price closed inside the yearly demand zone. We got 4 stocks. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report, so I request you pause the video, study the report, and then move on to the next reports. In case if you don't understand the structure of this report, I request you complete the training lesson 21.1. That is part 1 of lesson 21. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values and abbreviations in detail. Okay, next. Price closed inside the yearly supply zone. No stocks are available. For half-yearly time frame, stocks near to the half-yearly demand zone. No stocks. Stocks near to the half-yearly supply zone. Also no stocks. Price closed inside the half-yearly demand zone. We got 3 stocks. Next. Price closed inside the half-yearly supply zone. We got 4 stocks. Okay, next time frame is quarterly. Stocks near to the quarterly demand zone. We got 1 stock. Next, stocks near to the quarterly supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Next, price closed inside the quarterly demand zone. First 21 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 23 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. So in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, I am setting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. At the same time, the trend on the quarterly should not be sideways, because a sideways trend EMA confluence does not make any sense. So due to that reason, I am selecting the trend as either up or down, but not sideways. Quarterly time frame. With these filters, now the list is come down to 11 stocks. So these 11 quarterly demand zones are having more high probability compared to the other stocks. Okay, next quarterly time frame. Price closed inside the quarterly supply zone. We got 12 stocks. We can further filter this list based on quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. Quarterly time frame, setting the filter, quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. And also trend on the quarterly should not be sideways, setting up or down. With these filters, now the list is come down to 4 stocks. So these 4 quarterly supply zones are having more probability to get success compared to the other stocks in this earlier filter. So this is about quarterly time frame. The next time frame is a monthly. Stocks near to the monthly demand zone, we got 3 stocks. Next, stocks near to the monthly supply zone, we got 7 stocks. Next, price closed inside the monthly demand zone. First 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 28 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. So we got 9 stocks. So these 9 monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence. At the same time, current price closed inside this monthly demand zone. So those who wants to analyze the price closed inside in any zone, if you want to know the strategy that I already explained in lesson 29. I didn't remember exact number, maybe 29.6 or 29.7. One of the videos you may find. Okay, next monthly time frame. Price closed inside the monthly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. Total 27 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence. Now 13 stocks are filtered. So these 13 monthly supply zones are having monthly EMA confluence. And also current price closed inside the monthly supply zone. You can always look into the search strategy to understand how we are filtering the stocks. Okay, next time frame is weekly. And also today is also end of the week. A few additional reports I will be generating. Stocks near to the weekly demand zone. First total 16 stocks are filtered. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. Total 16 stocks are filtered. Next, price closed near the weekly supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Okay, next. Price closed inside the weekly demand zone. we got 9 stocks. We can further filter this list based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. So 3 stocks are filtered. These 3 weekly demand zones are having more high probability because these weekly demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. And also current price closed inside these weekly demand zones. Okay, next, weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. We got a big list. I am scrolling the list down. Total 61 stocks are filtered. We can further filter based on weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. So I'm going back in the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, setting the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, and also trend on the weekly should not be sideways. So I'm selecting up or down with these filters. Now the list is reduced. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 24 stocks are filtered where price closed inside weekly supply zone. Some of these weekly supply zones are pierced zones. You can apply pierced zone strategies by using those stocks. Okay, this is about weekly time frame, but today is the end of the week. I am going to generate few additional weekly reports. So weekly time frame. First let us find the tested demand zones, weekly demand zones this week. The stocks having tested demand zones. So these 9 stocks having the weekly demand zones are tested during this week. Okay, next, for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having the tested weekly supply zones. So these 12 stocks having the supply zones are tested during this week. Okay, next, let us identify newly created weekly demand and supply zones. Weekly time frame. Let us find the stocks having newly created weekly demand zones. So 7 weekly demand zones. These 7 stocks having weekly demand zones are created during this week. Next, for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having newly created weekly supply zones. These 5 stocks are having newly created weekly supply zones. Okay, this is about newly created zones. Next we will identify weekly zone, weekly, monthly and quarterly zone confluence based demand and supply zone based stocks. So first for weekly time frame, in the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we will set. First one is weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. Next, weekly demand zone with quarterly demand zone confluence. And monthly demand zone with quarterly demand zone confluence. 3 filters we set, LTF, ITF, HTF. Let us assume weekly is the LTF. Weekly should overlap with monthly. Both together again overlap with quarterly. That's why we set 3 filters. By setting these three filters, we got a good number of stocks. First 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 38 stocks are filtered. And all these are all weekly demand zones, having confluence with monthly and quarterly. We can further filter this list based on, because weekly is overlapped with monthly, both together overlapped with quarterly, all are part of quarterly. So let us let us filter based on quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. Then the overlapped weekly demand zones might be having more high priority to get success. So I'm going back in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame. I'm selecting the filter quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. But at the same time, trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. Can be up or down. So with these filters, now the list is come down to 24 stocks. So first 16 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 24 stocks are filtered. BANKNIFTY is also in the quarterly demand zone, having zone confluence with weekly and together with monthly. And also quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence. Okay, similarly we will look into supply zones also. For weekly time frame, in the supply zone confluence, three filters we will set: weekly, monthly and quarterly. So weekly supply zone confluence with monthly supply zone, weekly supply zone confluence with quarterly supply zone, and also monthly supply zone confluence with quarterly supply zone. By setting all the three filters, we got 7 stocks. So these are all weekly supply zones. These are the weekly supply zones. Let's verify out of these 7 weekly supply zones, because they are overlapped with monthly, again both together overlapped with quarterly. Let us further filter based on quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence. I am going back in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, setting the filter quarterly supply zone having quarterly EMA confluence, and also trend on the quarterly should not be sideways. So I am selecting up or down. With these filters, we got 2 stocks. Out of these 2, this weekly supply zone is pierced supply zone. Okay, this is about a weekly time frame. Next, we will move on to daily time frame. Entry time frame daily, let us find the stocks near to the daily demand zone. So we got 16 stocks. First 15 stocks, and this is the 16th. So total 16 stocks are there. So let us identify high liquidity zones in this list. The first one is Apollo Hospital is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Bandhan Bank is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Cummins is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Indian Hotels is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Kotak Bank is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. Shriram Finance is having a daily high liquidity demand zone. That's it. So total we identified 6 daily high liquidity demand zones from this list. Okay. Next, for daily time frame, let us find the stocks near to the daily supply zone. We got 12 stocks. Let us identify daily high liquidity supply zones from this list. Jindal Steel is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. Tata Motors is having a daily high liquidity supply zone. That's it. We identified 2 daily high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay, next. For daily time frame, price closed inside the daily demand zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 41 stocks are filtered. Out of these 41, let us find how many daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. And at the same time, trend on the daily should not be sideways. So it can be up or down. Now the list is come down to 14 stocks. These 14 daily demand zones are having daily EMA confluence and current price closed inside the daily demand zone. Okay, this is about daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. Next, for daily time frame, let us find the stocks price closed inside daily supply zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 30 stocks are filtered. We can further filter this list based on daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. Now the list is come down to 8 stocks. These 8 daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence and the current price closed inside the daily supply zone. Some of the zones are pierced zones. Might be you can apply pierced zone strategies in those stocks. Okay, this is about a daily time frame, and the next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near to the 125 minutes demand zone. First 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 23 stocks are filtered. Next, stocks near to the 125 minute supply zone, we got 9 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near to the 75 minutes demand zone. So first 15 stocks in the list. Scrolling the list down. So total 17 stocks are filtered. Let us identify high liquidity zones from this list. Indus Tower is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. LIC is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. Emphasis is having a 75 minutes high liquidity demand zone. That's it. We identified 3 high liquidity 75 minutes demand zones from this list. Okay, next, For 75 minutes time frame, let us find the stocks near to the 75 minute supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Let us identify high liquidity 75 minute supply zones from this list. Dixon is having a high liquidity zone and is also having high liquidity demand zones. So either side you may get trade opportunities and they are very close to each other. If you have enough RR after fine tuning the zone, you can plan trade on either side. That's it. We have only one high liquidity mistake. I'm looking into demand zones. Okay, here you have second one is Hindustan Petroleum is also having high liquidity 75 minutes supply zone. Petronet is not valid because it is a PR zone. You can apply PR zone strategies. And third one is Wipro. So we identified 3 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. Okay. So with this we have completed in finding high liquidity zones. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near to the 25 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 25 minute supply zone. We got 7 stocks. Next, time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near to the 15 minutes demand zone. We got 14 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 15 minute supply zone. We got 3 stocks. Next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near to the 5 minutes demand zone. We got 10 stocks. Next, stocks near to the 5 minute supply zone. We got 12 stocks. So this is about finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for all the time frames. Next, we will generate NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. So starting with NIFTY. Generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. See, always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. Look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. And apply the same rules to the remaining reports. And also don't forget to pause the video when you are moving from one report to another report, because I am giving you only few seconds time. Okay, next, generating weekly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 125 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 75 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 25 minute supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. But 15 minutes and 5 minutes let me generate again, because let me check with first 25 minutes is everything is available. Okay, here you have nearest demand zone is at serial number 13. This is okay. 15 minutes, let me check. Nearest demand zone to the current closing price is serial number 23. So let me put it in the center. Okay. Next, generating 5-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. All these are all supply zones, and the nearest demand zone to the current closing price is serial number 30, PR's demand zone. So I'll keep this in center, serial number 30. Okay. So this is about Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next, I will generate Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. That is nothing but Nifty Bank. Starting with monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 125-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 75-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 25-minute supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, generating 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So with this we have completed Bank Nifty as well as Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next we will look into bullish, bearish and sideways trade setups for monthly income trade, weekly income trade, daily income trade and hourly income trade. Okay, first for monthly income trade, first I will start with sideways trade setup, because same settings we can reuse in the other screens while generating the reports. That way some time I can save. Okay, first monthly income trade, sideways trade setup, long trades. Entry time frame is a daily, entry zone is demand zone, and in bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame I am selecting sideways long trade setup, and also zone achievement should be violated opposing zone, and for sideways trade setup minimum odd enhancer score should be 11, and any pierced zones for daily I am displaying, because those who wants to use pierced zone strategies, you can take pierced zones. But others who are using sideways trade setup or bullish or bearish trade setup, you should not use pierced zones for those trade setups. Only pierced zones, strategy traders only should use pierced zones. Just to help them, I'm not filtering pierced zones, but below daily, that is 75 minutes time frame onwards, I will filter even pierced zones. Okay, this is a sideways trade setup, long trades. So we got 5 stocks. See, always look into this filter, search strategy. You understand how we are filtering. See, entry time frame is daily. Entry zone, demand zone. And zone achievement, violated opposing zone. Odd and enhancer score 11 for sideways. For bullish or bearish, 12. And bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup in all the 3. And daily we are selecting zone violation based sideways long. We have 2 techniques for identifying the trend, zone violation as well as a pivot high and pivot lows. That is nothing but swing high, swing lows. But we are using zone violation, supply demand zone technique. Based on this, we generated the trend sideways. For that sideways long trade setups we are displaying. So total 5 stocks we got. But at present, until you land sideways trade setup, just monitor the results, how performance statistics. Okay, I am going back. Next, I am selecting sideways for entry time frame daily, and bullish or bearish I am using sideways short. Remaining filters are same. So let me filter the stocks. We don't have any stocks for short trade setup, for monthly income trade. Okay, next monthly income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame daily. Entry zone should be demand zone. And also in bullish or bearish trade setup, I am using bullish. And remaining 2 filters, first filter VWAS at zone achievement, I am reusing. But minimum odd and enhancer score should be 12. Sideways it is 11, but bullish or bearish trade setup, we have to use the value 12. And let me filter the stocks. We got 14 stocks. So these 14, let us identify high probability trade setup zones based on zone confluence. So I am going back. So in the demand zone confluence, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence filter I am enabling. With this filter, we got 8 stocks. In all these 8 stocks, your entry time frame daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zones. But weekly trend is up in all the stocks. ITF is weekly trend. So let us verify weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. And the trend is uptrend in all the weekly time frames, so we can filter 4 stocks we got. High probability trade setup supported stocks. So these 4 daily demand zones might be having more high probability to get success compared to the other stocks. Look into this. Indian Hotel is also displayed stocks near the high liquidity demand zone. This stock is displayed. And the same zone is also supporting bullish trade setup. So that is the reason why this is already tested twice. Okay, next we will filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly. Next, daily and monthly demand zone confluence, weekly and monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, demand zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. Both these stocks, these daily demand zones are overlapped with weekly demand zone. Both together overlapped with monthly demand zone. But monthly trend is up in only 1 stock. If this stock, monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence in case, then the overlapped daily demand zone might be having even more high probability to get success. So let's verify. In the EMA Confluence at monthly, I am checking monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. At the same time, trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is it is bullish trade setup. So let's filter. So that one stock, Reliance, is filtered. That means this daily demand zone is having even more high probability to get success if prices reach here. But it is not so easy because already 20% distance is there. But it is in between demand zone and supply zone. What is the current closing price? 1422. Here demand zone entry 1240. So almost 200 rupees price should go down. Then only we get the trade. It's not easy. But anyway, if any reason, if it fell down by 200, then we can plan a trade. Otherwise, new zones will be created and trend setups will be changed. Okay, this is a bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade, entry time frame, daily entry zone. Supply zone, bullish or bearish trade setup. At daily, I am selecting bearish. And zone achievement VOZ, minimum odd enhancer score 12. With these filters, we got 4 stocks. These 4 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Just give me a minute, let me drink some water. Okay. Out of these 4, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on supply zone confluence. First filter daily, weekly supply zone confluence. I enable the filter. Daily, weekly, yeah. Out of 4, all 4 are filtered. That means in all the 4 stocks, these daily supply zones are overlapped with weekly supply zone. And weekly trend is down in all the stocks. Let's verify how many of these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA confluence. If any stocks are filtered, those overlapped daily supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. In the EMA confluence at weekly, I am checking weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. Trend on the weekly is downtrend. We got 3 stocks are filtered. So these 3 weekly supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Okay, next we will filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. Daily, weekly, monthly supply zone confluence. Removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters I have to set. First filter is already enabled, that is daily with weekly. Next, daily, monthly supply zone confluence, weekly, monthly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 3 stocks. Now let's check out of these 3, only one is having downtrend. So if this is monthly supply zone is having monthly EMA confluence, then the overlapped daily supply zone might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, checking monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence. At the same time, trend on the monthly should not be sideways. It should be downtrend because it is bearish trade setup. So that one stock is filtered. That means this daily supply zone having even more high probability to get success. Current closing price is 307 and zone low entry is 320. but you need to fine tune the zone because risk is very high. Okay, fine. This is about bearish. This is a bearish trade setup for daily income trade based on LTF and ITF, supply zone confluence, ITF, EMA confluence. Sorry, LTF, ITF, HTF, not LTF, ITF. LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, and HTF, EMA confluence. Okay, with this we have completed a bullish and bearish trade setup for monthly income trade, even sideways trade setups. Next we will look into weekly income trade, sideways, bullish and bearish trade setups. For sideways trade setup, weekly income trade, long trades, entry time frame is 75 minutes, entry zone, demand zone for long trades, and also in bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup, at 75 minutes time frame I am selecting sideways long, zone achievement violated opposing zone, minimum odd enhancer score 11 for sideways trade setup, and also the 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value I am using 0, maximum value 0. That means pierced count should be 0. Pierced count 0 means zone is not pierced. Which zone? The one you select here, 75 minutes demand zone. If I change it to supply zone, the same filter applied to the supply zone. So at present we selected 75 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. We got two stocks. So these two are supporting sideways long trade setup. These two 75 minutes demand zones. Okay, next sideways trade setup, short trade setup. Let me change few filters here. One is entry zone should be supply zone, and also bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes I am changing to sideways short. Remaining filters, whatever you selected earlier, they still remain same, but this time all the three filters, zone achievement, minimum odd enhancer score, and pierced count, this time they are applied to 75 minutes supply zone. Earlier they applied to 75 minutes demand zone. Now they will apply to 75 minutes supply zone. Now let's filter. We got two stocks. Sideways short trade setup. Next we will look into bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. I am going back. For bullish trade setup, entry zone, demand zone, and also bullish or bearish trade setup 75 minutes. I am selecting a bullish, and zone achievement, pierced count same, but minimum odd enhancer score, the value should be 12 instead of 11. Bullish or bearish, the value should be 12. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 6 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. We can further filter this list based on the zone confluence to find high probability trade setups. So first filter LTF, ITF, demand zone confluence, that is 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. I enable the filter LTF, ITF, demand zone confluence. We got 4 stocks. In these 4 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are overlapped with daily demand zone, and daily trend is up in all the 4 stocks. Let's further filter based on daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. If any stocks filter, then those overlapped 75 minutes demand zones might be having even more high probability to get success. So EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I am checking daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence. Anyway, daily trend is uptrend. We can filter the stocks. 3 stocks are filtered. So that means these 3 75 minutes demand zones are having more high probability to get success. Maybe that is the reason why, see, this zone is already tested 4 times, this is tested 3 times. Oh, sorry. This is, I'm looking into supply zone here. Only this stock only. 4 times it is tested, remaining not yet tested. Okay, next let us look into LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks. I removed EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, in the demand zone confluence, first filter is already enabled, 75 with daily. Next 75 with weekly demand zone confluence, daily with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got only one stock. In this stock, this daily demand zone overlapped with weekly demand zone, both together overlapped with monthly demand zone. This is 75 minutes. 75 with daily, both together with weekly demand zone. But weekly trend is sideways. Sideways we don't look EMA confluence, it won't give any advantage. So this is bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Entry zone, supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes, I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement VOZ, minimum odd enhancer score 12, and also 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value I am setting 0, maximum value 0. With these filters we got 14 stocks. These 14 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, and entry time frame zones are 75 minute supply zones. All these supply zones, they are all 75 minute supply zones. They are the entry time frame zones. Out of these 14 75 minute supply zone, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Enable the filter. So we got 14 stocks. In all 14 stocks, the 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with the daily supply zone. And daily trend is down in all the stocks. So if daily supply zone is having daily EMA confluence, then the overlapped 75 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let us filter. I'm going back. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I'm selecting the filter daily supply zone having daily EMA confluence. And daily trend is down in all the stocks. Let's filter. We got 9 stocks. So these 9 75 minute supply zones are having more high probability to get success compared to the others. Some of the 75 minute supply zones are already tested once. Okay, this is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence. Next we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stocks, later HTF EMA confluence. So I am going back, removing ITF EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, that is 75 with daily. Next 75 and weekly supply zone confluence, daily and weekly supply zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 6 stocks. In these 6 stocks, these 75 minute supply zones are overlapped with daily supply zone, both together again overlapped with weekly supply zone. And weekly trend is down in all the stocks except 4th one. So ignore the 4th one, and remaining stocks, if a weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence, then the overlapped 75 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. I'm going back in the EMA confluence. at weekly time frame. I'm checking weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence. At the same time, trend on the weekly should not be sideways. It should be downtrend because it is bearish trade set. So we got 5 stocks, all 5 stocks. So in all these stocks, these 75-minute supply zones are having even more high probability to get success. So this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, let us look into daily income trade. So entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone, demand zone. First we will generate sideways trade setups. After that, bullish and bearish. Entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup, at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting sideways long trade setup, and the zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer for sideways trade setup 11, and the 15 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So with these filters, we got 7 stocks. All these 15 minutes demand zones are supporting sideways trade setup for long trades. See, always remember, entry time frame demand zone means long, and entry time frame supply zone means it is short. That's why we are always selecting entry zone. Okay, next we will look into sideways short trade setup. So entry zone is supply zone, and also in bullish or bearish trade setup, 15 minutes I am selecting sideways short. Remaining filters are same, but this time they are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Let's filter. We don't have any stocks for short trade. Okay, next bullish trade setup, entry time frame 15 minutes for DIT bullish trade setup, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. Zone achievement same, but minimum odd enhancer score should be 12. And pierced count will be same, but this time they are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Let's filter. We got 12 stocks supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. And all the entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. So we got total 12 15 minutes demand zones. Out of these 12, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on zone confluence. First filter LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. That is nothing but 15 minutes demand zone and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. Enable the filter. All 10 stocks are filtered. In these 10 stocks, the 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone in all the 10 stocks. And 75 minutes trend is up. Let's verify any 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. Then the overlapped 15 minutes demand zone might be having even more high probability to get success. So let's filter. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, and checking 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence or not. So with this filter, we got 3 stocks. So these 3 15 minutes demand zones are having more high probability to get success. See, that is the reason why Birlasoft is already tested 4 times. Okay, next we will look into LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence supported stocks. I am removing EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled. Next 15 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. 75 minutes and daily demand zone confluence. With all the three filters, we got 4 stocks. In all these 4 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are overlapped with the 75 minutes demand zones. Both together again overlapped with the daily demand zone. And daily trend is up in only one stock. So if this RBL Bank is having daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence, in that case the overlapped 15 minutes demand zone might be having more high probability to get success. So let's filter. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I'm checking daily demand zone having daily EMA. At the same time, trend on the daily should not be sideways, it should be uptrend because it is a bullish trade setup. So that one stock is filtered. That means RBL Bank is having even more high probability, the 15 minutes demand zone, having more high probability to get success compared to the others. Okay, this is about daily income trade bullish trade setup. Next, daily income trade bearish trade setup. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone, supply zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes. I am selecting bearish. Zone achievement VOZ. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. And the 15 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at 15 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. So with these filters, we got 10 stocks. All these 10 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. Okay, let us further filter based on the zone confluence for high probability trade setup supported stocks. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. After applying this filter, we got 6 stocks. In these 6 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And 75 minutes trend is down in all the stocks. Let's verify 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. By applying the EMA filter, we got 1 stock. So that way this 75 minute supply zone is having more high probability to get success. Next, we will look into LTF, ITF and even HTF supply zone confluence supported stock. Removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Next, 15 minutes and daily supply zone confluence, 75 minutes and daily supply zone confluence. By enabling all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF, supply zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. In both the stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are overlapped with 75 minute supply zone, both together overlapped with daily supply zone. But daily trend is sideways in both the stocks. Sideways trend, we don't use EMA confluence. So this is a bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, we will generate hourly income trade reports. Hourly income trade bullish trade setup. First, sideways trade setup. Hourly income trade entry time frame is 5 minutes. Entry zone, demand zone, bullish or bearish or sideways trade setup at 5 minutes. I am selecting sideways long, and zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 11 for sideways trade setup. And also 5 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count parameter at 5 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 1 stock. sideways trade setup. Okay, next short signals for sideways trade setup. Entries on supply zone and bullish or bearish trade setup at 5 minutes. At sideways I am selecting short. Remaining filters are same. This time filters are applied to 5 minute supply zone. Let's filter. We got two stocks. Sideways trade setup, bearish trade setup. Maybe that is the reason why Jindal Steel already tested 2 times on either side. Both the sides they tested 2 times. Okay, next bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame 5 minutes, but entry zone should be demand zone. Bullish or bearish trade setup, I have to select bullish, and only minimum odd and enhanced score should be 12. Remaining filters are same, and this time all filters applied to 5 minutes demand zone. Now we got 11 stocks, bullish trade setup for hourly income trade. Out of these 11, how many are having zone confluence? Let us verify. First one, LTF, ITF, demand zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes demand zone confluence. By enabling the filter, we got 11 stocks. Let's check out of these 11, any 15 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence. None of them are having EMA confluence. So let's look into LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. I removed EMA filter. In the demand zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First 5 min and 15 minutes demand zone confluence, 5 min and 75 minutes demand zone confluence, and 15 minutes and 75 minutes demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, we got 5 stocks. So in all the 5 stocks, these 5 minutes demand zones are overlapped with these 5 minutes demand zones overlapped with 15 minutes demand zone. Both together again overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. And 75 minutes trend is up in 2 stocks. If any of these 2 stocks, 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence, in that case, these 5 minutes demand zones are having more high probability to get success because they are overlapped with 75 minutes demand zone. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes, I am checking 75 minutes demand zone having daily EMA confluence or not. At the same time, trend on the 75 minutes should not be sideways. It should be uptrend because it is bullish trade setup. So none of the stocks are having EMA confluence for bullish trade setup. Next, bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Entry time frame 5 minutes. Entry zone supply zone. Bullish or bearish at 5 minutes. I am selecting bearish. And zone achievement VOZ, minimum odd and enhanced score 12. And a 5 minute supply zone should not be pierced. In the pierced count at 5 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. With these filters, we got 8 stocks. They are supporting bearish trade setup for hourly income trade. Out of these 8, how many are having more high probability to get success? That we will filter based on the zone confluence. First filter is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minutes and 15 minutes supply zone confluence. Enable the filter. We got 7 stocks. In all the 7 stocks, 5 minutes supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. And 15 minutes trend is down in all the stocks. Let's verify any 15 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence. So 3 stocks are filtered. So these 3 15 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success compared to the others. Okay, next let us filter based on LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone confluence. That is 5 minutes, 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I removed EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, 3 filters we have to set. First filter is already enabled, 5 minutes and 15 minutes. Next 5 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence. Enable the filter. Next 15 minutes and 75 minutes supply zone confluence filter also enabled. With all the 3 filters, we got 2 stocks. So both these stocks, these 5 minute supply zones are overlapped with 15 minute supply zones. Both together again overlapped with 75 minute supply zone. And 75 minutes trend is down in both the stocks. If any of the 75 minute supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, then the overlapped 15 minute supply zones might be having more high probability to get success. Let's verify. I'm going back in the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame and checking 75 minute supply zone having daily EMA confluence or not. And the trend on the 75 is down in both the stocks. Let's filter. One stock is filtered. So this 15 minute supply zone having more high probability to get success. Maybe that is the reason why this zone is already tested twice. So this is about hourly income trade. So with this we have completed all the 4 income trades for bullish, bearish and sideways trade setups. And final report, let us generate stop buffers based on daily ATR. First 17 in this list are indices, remaining all are equity stocks. So I'm scrolling the list down, whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video. After that you can proceed further. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for our further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.